Hi there, I'd like to show you how to use a pin tool or a pin press for your watch bracelets. These are for any watch bracelet that has, instead of screw pins, if they're push pins or pin and collar. So this tool makes things a lot easier than trying to push it through other ways. This is a relatively inexpensive, mid-priced pin tool. I got it at Auto Fry Watch Parts. And so I've modified a couple of these inserts, these tools, to make things a little bit easier, and that's kind of what I wanted to show you. So let's just, I've been, just kind of sizing this bracelet, basically just kind of repositioning the location of that clasp relative to the bracelet so it's centered on my wrist. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the shortest pin tool, and I like to use the shortest one possible because then there's less chance of breakage. So and I use this very smooth plier right here to place the pin tool in the holder. And once the holder is ready to go, we're going to tighten this up. And there are usually two different sizes of these pads. They're just slightly different thicknesses. And we're going to use the thicker one. So let's go ahead and remove a pin. Let's open this bracelet. So first thing you want to do is you have to look at the back side of the links. There's a little, there's going to be a little direction indicating arrow. You can see it right there. See if I can focus on that. Okay, so that tells me I want to push the pin that way. So let's get this lined up and be patient. Make sure that you're lined up with the pin and you're not pressing against the steel of your bracelet there. All right, so pin went in, came out the back, and the direction that this goes back is very critical. This is the open side of the pin, so we're gonna pull this out and hold it over there. Now, we're gonna add this link in that I took out from the other side. So let's put that in here. We're going to put this pin in this direction. Oop. Okay, now, sure you can push this in, but let's do it with the proper instrument here. So, first thing I do when I'm pressing the pin in, I want to show you one of these tools that I've modified. So, there's two actually that I modified. So there's 3 steps basically. You can skip steps, but there's a better chance that you might damage something. So, first one I have is a flat pin tool. And you can see I've got a little divot. They don't come like that. I had to add this with a dental drill. You can use any rotary instrument you have. But anyway, you see how I'm pressing that into the holder with a flat, smooth inside pliers. So now the advantage here is when this pin goes in, well, let's see, I'll show you. So now what happens here is that that divot will center that head. You see how that worked? That worked out very well. It just kind of guided that pin head into the hole. Now we're going to switch I'm going to take this out and I'm going to flip it, and the other side is completely flat. You can see that there. So this side is really handy for just kind of making that flush. All right, because right now you can see this sticks out just barely. You can see it's out a little bit. You can even feel it with your fingernail. So let's put this in, and we're going to make it flush, just like that. Now we're almost done. One more step. I want to get that countersunk. If you look closely, the other pin is, well, that's not a good example because that doesn't have a pin, but if you look on the other side, these pins are not just flush, they're actually countersunk. They're a little bit deeper, and that just ensures that they don't loosen up accidentally. So there's one more modified pin tool that I've got here, and this happened, I basically turned lemons into lemonade when I broke one of these, especially one of these longer ones. These are more likely to break. But I basically just kind of filed it down, and I made this little, for lack of a better term, it's kind of a nipple. It's just a little bit of a bump. And what that does is, let's get our pad there. So we're going to get that same non-countersunk, that flush. So let's take a look again before. You see this kind of just barely flush because we used the flat instrument. Now we're going to use this slightly protruding pin tool, push it in. And now if you look, it's nice and countersunk. You see that? And that locks it in really good. And then I've got one more to place and we're all set. But that's basically the gist of it. So pin tool, use the shortest pin possible, and consider making a divot on the center of one of the flat sides, and then if you break one, you can use that modified pointed pin, which helps to guide it in and get a nice countersink. All right, hope that was helpful.